Well, what a turn up for the books. In our last video, Blinkerhole hinted that a famous face might be returning to ITVs this morning, with many wondering if it was Holly Willoughby. However, we said that it's possible that another familiar face might be making a comeback, Ruth Langsford, but without her sidekick Eamonn Holmes. If so, it would stand to reason that Ruth would want to distance herself from her now estranged husband after his association with the scandal surrounding former ITV This Morning presenter Phillip Schofield. Now, amid the rumors, media outlets are quickly trying to quash any suggestion that the disdain showed by Ruth's former beau Eamonn towards the disgraced Castaway star had anything to do with Ruth and Eamonn's marriage breakdown. But, reportedly, Eamonn Holmes' dislike for Phillip Schofield became so severe that he has no regrets about his outbursts, sparking issues at the end of his marriage to wife Ruth Langsford. A source close to Eamonn has revealed he stands firm in his outspoken rants about Phillip, which allegedly left his wife Ruth dismayed towards the end of their marriage. Ruth is still a regular star on fellow ITV favourite Loose Women, and a source said she felt awkward that her spouse was speaking out about the channel and how he felt betrayed by them. Ruth and Eamonn announced their split in May after 14 years of marriage after work commitments took their marriage in different directions, and he has since been pictured while on holiday with girlfriend Katie Alexander. The presenter has openly shared his dislike of Phillip, with the pair's warring words sparking a feud that's been dubbed one of the biggest in show business. A source said, Eamonn's dislike for Phillip existed for a long time, but it became very public at the end of his marriage to Ruth. And as his hatred for him and ITV grew, the cracks in their relationship grew deeper. Ruth became a bit dismayed at Eamonn for making repeated digs at ITV after they were axed from This Morning. Ruth wasn't over the moon about it. But given she was still a cemented member of the Loose Women family, it made things somewhat awkward for her to have Eamonn criticizing ITV. But Eamonn loathes Phillip and has no regrets about what he said, and certainly doesn't think he threw him under the bus. He doesn't regret any of his behavior. He believes he's addicted to fame, and he can't believe he's attempted to relaunch himself with his documentary. Eamonn is trying to move on with his life, and has no plans to ever make it up with Phillip. Eamonn Holmes has so far declined to comment on the story, but a source close to the presenter said it would be wrong to suggest his comments about Phillip or ITV had anything to do with his marriage breaking down. In November 2021, Eamonn and Ruth were controversially axed from This Morning after 15 years, and replaced on The Friday Show by Dermot O'Leary and Alison Hammond. Eamonn was particularly aggrieved about being let go by ITV, claiming he was never given an accurate reason. His culling was made even more frustrating by his belief Phillip had been given unwavering support by ITV, despite his behaviour off-set, a belief shared by Phillip's former co-host Fern Britton and Amanda Holden, who briefly hosted This Morning alongside him in 2015, while Holly was on maternity leave. Sources claimed that the incident confirmed Eamonn's belief that Phillip had constantly been feted despite his poor behaviour behind the scenes. Fast forward to today, and Eamonn has continued with his campaign of hatred, furiously hitting out at Phillip during his TV comeback on Castaway, saying he is very proud to have thrown him under the bus. But the pair's relationship wasn't always so acrimonious. When Eamonn hosted GMTV, Phillip presented This Morning, before Holmes joined him on the daytime show in 2006. In a bid to keep the peace on the much-loved ITV daytime program, Eamonn and Schofield had tried to keep their mutual resentment to themselves, and when Phillip came out as gay live on This Morning back in February 2020, Eamonn was a picture of moral support, even though sources say he was furious about being forced to back the man he so disliked. Nowadays, both have given up on such pretenses. They openly despise one another so much that they would cross the road to avoid having to even look at each other, according to a source. They continued, "It's usually women who fall out in show business, but Eamonn and Phil's is by far the bitchiest, most vicious fallout in television. They hate one another. Eamonn cannot stand Phil, and while he never used to talk about it, now he just doesn't care. He thinks Phil is a disgrace and a liar. Phil keeps quiet about it all, but the feeling is mutual." The pair's feud began with an incident involving Eamonn's now estranged wife Ruth Langsford. In 2019, she filed an official complaint against Schofield after she was cut off mid-sentence by the presenter as she was explaining what was coming up on her segment of This Morning. Phillip said live on air at the time, "Guys, we're going to have to jump in there and stop you, I'm afraid, because we're a bit tight for time at this end." Thank you, Ruth. Unimpressed, Ruth responded, "Well, I only had about 2 more words to say," and slammed down her pen in fury. Schofield then wrote about the exchange in his 2020 autobiography, Life's What You Make It. Eamonn was particularly riled since he had made the effort to appear supportive of Schofield coming out on national TV. After being told by ITV bosses about Schofield's announcement when he and Langsford arrived at work that morning back in February 2020, he was seen embracing Schofield. Eamonn felt very used by Phil for the coming out scenes, said one insider. He and Ruth were told that they had to be there, and it all looked like they were best friends. But eagle-eyed viewers at the time said that it was fake. Now we know it was. Eamonn despises Schofield and has for a very, very long time. The anger only increased after Holmes departed ITV. And the moment Schofield admitted his affair with the young man, referred to as Person X by ITV chiefs, he unleashed his fury. It's thought that Eamonn and Ruth were particularly upset at how Schofield treated his young This Morning colleague. Ruth knew the young man well, as he had later moved to Loose Women. Eamonn took a dim view of it all, said a source close to him. He knew nothing of the relationship and felt lied to, like many of Schofield's other colleagues. That was it for Eamonn. He just couldn't keep quiet about it anymore. Speaking about the young man in an interview on GB News after Schofield's confession, Eamonn said, "Ruth and I particularly looked after him. He never once talked to us about any relationship, but we knew he was in a bad way, fragilely. There's an incredible duty of care that needs to go towards that young man." During the same chat, he let rip at Phillip, saying that he created an atmosphere where people hated him. He didn't look at anybody. He is a complete and utter dyed-in-the-wool narcissist. Friends of Schofield say that he was very upset by the interview, and said that it contributed to his already fragile state of mind in the aftermath of him quitting ITV. But, today, after being cast away on a remote Madagascan island, Phillip Schofield probably couldn't give a stuff about what Eamonn Holmes thinks of him, as he recently took to social media to air his view. Phillip wrote, "I've been shown hundreds of lovely messages which are very important to me. I'm so proud of the shows," but then added, "Obviously the haters can kiss my A." Can we assume one of those haters Phillip Schofield is referring to is his nemesis Eamonn Holmes? Probably. Like and subscribe for more journeys through the blinker hole. For entertainment purposes only.